Courtney is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and again, General McKenzie, thank you for reminding us just a moment ago that there actually was an agreement in place that the sitting government of this country entered into in the last administration, and in many respects, the announcement that President Biden made was really to try and make that agreement more logistically executable, so that we're not in a situation like Saigon 1975. So Ms. Dory sort of alluded a moment ago to the fact that we are still going to retain over-the-horizon capability to make sure that a counterterrorism effort can continue and protect the homeland. Can you describe just a little bit more detail what that looks like? Because that is, I think, the real heartburn that I certainly pick up from my constituents about the decision. Is it going to be at sea? Is it going to be in neighboring countries where we again have the ability to deploy assets to again respond to a terrorist threat?
So I'm actually conducting detailed planning by the direction of the Secretary to look at those options right now. And I will report back to him by the end of the month with some alternatives. But I can broadly state, if you leave Afghanistan and you want to go back in to conduct these kinds of operations, there are three things you need to do. You need to find the target, you need to fix the target, and you need to be able to finish the target. So those three things, the first two require heavy intelligence support. And if you're out of the country and you don't have the ecosystem that we have there now, it will be harder to do that. It is not impossible to do that. It will just be harder to do it. You will have to base your overhead ISR from no longer within Afghanistan, where an MQ-9 can take off and be over its target in a matter of minutes, to perhaps much further away. We will look at all the countries in the region. Our diplomats will reach out and we'll talk about places where we could base those resources. Some of them may be very far away, and then there would be a significant bill for those types of resources because you'd have to cycle a lot of them in and out. That is all doable, however. So there are ways to get to the find and the fix part. The fix part is very important, though, because if we're going to strike something, we're going to strike it in concert with the law of armed conflict and the American way of war. We're going to minimize collateral damage. We're going to make sure we have a precise target and that we're going to be able to control what happens there. It's difficult to do that at range. It is not impossible to do that at range. And so you have a variety of ways that you could actually strike the target if you chose to do that. You could do it with long-range precision fires. You could do it with manned raids. All of those are inherently dangerous, but you could still do it. You could do it with manned aircraft. There are problems with all three of those options, but there's also opportunities with all three of those options. So I don't want to make light of it. I don't want to put on rose-colored glasses and say it's going to be easy to do. I can tell you that the U.S. military can do just about anything, and we're examining this problem with all of our resources right now to find a way to do it in the most intelligent, risk-free manner that we can.
Well, thank you for that answer. And again, I think it is important to, remember that we're not in the same mindset we were in at the time of 9/11. I mean, I think, certainly it sounds like, again, you're very focused in terms of making sure that a threat like what occurred back then is going to be planned for and again addressed as the case may be. General Townsend, in the last NDAA, there probably were at least 2 or 3 provisions regarding critical minerals and rare earth minerals, which I've been on this committee a while. That was pretty unique. But again, I think from a security standpoint, I think there is now a pretty widespread recognition that China has been very methodical and successful in terms of cornering the market. In terms of critical minerals in Africa, I think is clearly a part of the world that they've succeeded at that. Again, your map on economic activity, I realize, was kind of a global view, but is that something that AFRICOM is watching and at least being able to help, at least, if nothing else, educate us back here about the fact that we've got to pay attention to this because they have a stranglehold, let's face it, in terms of things like antimony and cobalt, lithium, all of these minerals that go into everything from our cell phones to platforms that we need for our national defense.
Congressman, you said it great. So the Russians are looking, to me, they're looking at exploiting and short-term gain. The Chinese have a much longer-term view that's more concerning to me. And so they are not only mining rare earth minerals in Africa for their own use, they are cornering the market on these concerns in Africa to have them under control for a rainy day in the future. That should be of concern to us. As you look at the list of rare earth minerals, and you named a few of them, a couple others, tantalum. I was just looking at this
And I'm
yesterday.
sorry, General, I do apologize. Gentleman's time has expired. I'll try to get to other folks here.
Sure.
Mr.